Yo, what's up out there in YouTube land and on Rumble? So, how you doing? It's my man Ricky Fawn B. This is the UN podcast.
It's getting old, isn't
it? What you got to give us
the 100th episode?
No, just 61. So
61.
Yeah. So it's been a minute, but move my camera a little bit. All right. Yeah. No. You got to give yourself some love, like a little bit, right?
Yeah,
so I know.
At some point, I have to stop. It's all the same damn thing every week.
What would you rather?
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah, something different, man.
All right. Well, you doing okay, bro?
Of course. Don't you see me all blue?
Yeah, I see that. I know you was happy when they beat the Padres. So
can't stand the Padres, man. All right, let's start the show, man. I don't think people want to hear that stuff.
All right. Well, first thing we're going to talk about is Denzel Washington is supposedly joining the MCU. So there's a video of someone talking about it. Here we go. So let's share it is.
No offense, but if you still think calling attorneys or dealing with insurance companies is the best way to see if you're...
Gotta love commercials. All right.
Significant update today for Doctor Strange 3. We know that Doctor Strange 3 is going to be an incredibly important movie for the multiverse saga in the MCU, and it looks like Marvel Studios does already know the direction that they want to go, which does make a lot of sense because Doctor Strange 3 is supposed to come out before Avengers Doomsday, and it looks like they already know who their villain is going to be for the movie, the role that the villain is going to play, and the role, of course, that Doctor Strange is going to play in the entirety of the multiverse saga. And the best news is, it looks like we have a confirmation of who the villain is going to be played by, who I'm sure I put in the title so you already know, Denzel Washington. According to a new report from Production Weekly, Doctor Strange 3 is well underway, and we now have a director and our main villain. Now, we've heard the rumor about the director, and Production Weekly has listed for the director of Doctor Strange 3, Sam Raimi, which I do think is a great choice. I think that if they get Sam Raimi involved from the ground up, from the very beginning, let him be involved with the script, not come in and have to deal with somebody else's script and direction, I think it could be a great movie, especially with who they have planned to play the villain, which, according to Production Weekly, will be played by Denzel Washington himself. He is joining the MCU. And before you go off and start thinking, is Denzel Washington possibly playing a variant of Kang? No, it does not seem like that is going to be the case. I would like that. I think that would have been really cool, even if it were to just wrap up.
I thought it would have been Kane. I thought he would have been Kane.
Well,
because other guys having so many issues, isn't it?
Yeah, they've decided to move completely away from that. So no more Kang, no nothing. So they rewrote the last those two movies. Yeah, that's why they switched to Doom, and they've got Robert Downey Jr. Hopefully that'll get people to come back.
Oh, the big guns, they're bringing up the big guns.
Well, they got to do something, dude. Like, people ain't feeling this last little.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Denzel Washington, man.
Well, people have been really.
Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're learning, not like Star Wars.
Oh yeah. So let's finish this out though. See what else information that they have. Yeah. Disney needs money, man. At the end of the day,
and bring in Doom, it would have been really cool to see. And this is what a lot of people thought before when we heard that Denzel Washington had met with Marvel. He met with Marvel right after all the stuff with Jonathan Majors went down. So a lot of us just assumed Marvel Studios was talking to him about possibly replacing Kang, and they might have been. We know that they were going to consider replacing Jonathan Majors as Kang until they decided that Kang wasn't actually that big of a villain, and a lot of people weren't too excited about him. So they decided instead of simply recasting Kang, they were just going to bring in Doom and bring back Robert Downey Jr. as Doom to get people hyped again, which, yeah, that definitely worked. But no, Denzel Washington, according to Production Weekly, which usually is very accurate, is playing the one and only Dormammu. That's right, Dormammu is returning, but now he is going to be played by Denzel Washington. And this does make a lot of sense if we consider the post-credit scene for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and if we consider who Clea actually is. And this really does actually set up Doctor Strange 3 to be kind of a bigger movie than we originally thought it was going to be. Don't get me wrong, we already knew it was going to be pretty big, but we didn't really know who the main villain was going to be at the time. But now we know. So let's tie this to the ending of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and talk about what we know. Well, at the end, Clea and Strange were going to the Dark Dimension, the dimension ruled by Dormammu, who not only rules the Dark Dimension, but he also looks to seize other dimensions and add them to the Dark Dimension. So essentially take over other dimensions and put them in his own, so he could rule essentially everything. And this just adds a completely new layer that I really like to Doctor Strange 3, especially with Clea as well. Because you see, Clea is actually the niece of Dormammu. Dormammu is the brother of Clea's mother. Now, in the comics, Clea's mother abandoned her right when she was born because Clea's birth was very...
So now you can see why this plugin has replaced like half my...
Dude. All right.
Umar was her name, and her brother Dormammu are beings called
I'm gonna have to get
Valtinians.
that
They are extra-dimensional energy
premium,
beings
thing,
that
man.
are
I'm just
basically
having
born
commercial.
of just pure magic. And they can be in human form or Faltine form. And that's what Dormammu typically chooses to remain as, his Faltine form. However, when Umar gave birth to Clea, she lost the ability to turn into her Faltine form, and she was just incredibly enraged by this. So she abandoned Clea, fought Dormammu. Dormammu kind of basically easily wiped the floor with her and banished her away. Clea then never really knew what happened to her mother, but she grew up worshiping Dormammu. So we've heard that in Doctor Strange 3, Clea is going to be a part of the group called the Black Priests. Now, the Black Priests are a multiversal organization that are essentially trying to stop the multiverse from being destroyed. Now, that seems to be the...
Okay, wait a minute. That sounds super... How are you gonna... Okay. My question is, how are you gonna explain all of that in the next movie? Because that's a lot. That's a lot of homework.
Oh, they're not gonna keep the same story. You know, they're gonna change it to what they want.
Right, but so is he gonna be CGI or because I can't imagine. I'm trying to think of, has he done any kind of
Who, Denzel?
CGI anything?
I think he got adjusted. That he's a good actor.
I know, but you wouldn't cast like. Why would you cast Denzel Washington if he doesn't get to be Denzel Washington in your movie?
Nah, it's true. But I think it's just like a last attempt to bring out the big guns, you know? Robert Downey Jr., Denzel. Put some, how you say it? Pour more excitement into it.
Yeah, I guess, but that... I don't know. Well, we almost done. They got see what else they got that this dude has to say. Because so far that's a little convoluted.
Case for Doctor Strange 3, because at the end of Multiverse of Madness in that post-credit scene, she shows up and she tells Strange, you caused an incursion to happen and we're going to fix it. So clearly she is doing something to try and fix the multiverse, to fix incursions. And it sounds like she...
I just remember her, at the end. She comes out. Yeah.
That incursion
definitely
thing is
knows a way to fix them, which is good, unless she's lying, which she might be, because we have learned that a lot of different parts of the multiverse think that Doctor Strange is the problem. He is the one, him and his variants are causing incursions all throughout the multiverse. So this simply could be a trick to simply get him in front of the Black Priests or in front of Dormammu. Because like I mentioned, Dormammu is Clea's uncle, and she does serve and worship him in the beginning. However, eventually, she does go on to eventually marry Doctor Strange, so she does become good. It's actually a very romantic story that does involve Dormammu that I think might actually be the ending for Doctor Strange in the MCU. We know that the soft reboot is coming, and not everybody is going to survive the soft reboot, and some characters are going to be retired. Or some actors will retire playing certain characters, and some other characters will be recast in the new MCU. Doctor Strange could be one of those characters. But basically, in the comics, when Clea discovers Doctor Strange in the Dark Dimension, she gets pretty curious, and she essentially follows him around and ultimately helps him, and then Dormammu imprisons her. And this actually happens a lot. Dormammu imprisons Clea a lot. Doctor Strange comes, defeats him, releases her, then she gets captured by her mother. She gets imprisoned. Doctor Strange comes, defeats her, lets her go. Eventually, Clea goes to Earth at the Sanctum Sanctorum because they believe that's the only place safe. Doctor Strange and Clea fall in love until eventually Clea does have to go back to the Dark Dimension, where she would actually become Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension, having studied and being taught sorcery by Doctor Strange himself. And even though they were apart, they ultimately decided they loved each other. They didn't want to move past the love, despite them being on different planes and different dimensions, and they wanted to be together. So they got married, but the kicker was they couldn't actually get married on Earth. They couldn't legally be married because Clea was an extra dimensional being, so Strange and Clea began wearing magic rings that were actually just one ring, but appeared as two on each of their fingers and connected them mystically for all eternity. That could be where we're headed for the ending of Doctor Strange. Maybe a happy ending for him, but Dormammu is definitely going to try and get in the way. He's already made one attempt at conquering Earth before in the very first Doctor Strange movie. Strange already defeated him once, and I'm sure he'll definitely be able to do it again. However, like I've said, this is going to be more than just defeating Dormammu. Strange is going to have to convince the Black Priests and possibly Doctor Doom in this that he is not the one that is the giant threat to the multiverse. But it will be insanely cool to see Doctor Strange go up against Denzel Washington as Dormammu. And remember, Dormammu can take the shape of a human, which I'm sure we'll see quite a lot in Doctor Strange 3, because you don't just get Denzel Washington to have him essentially just appear CGI with his voice. You definitely could, but it would be a lot better to really use him, or at least use his face. He certainly does have a great voice to play Dormammu, and I really do hope they have a very interesting story for Denzel Washington to play out with Clea, with the multiverse, with Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange 3. So I'm excited.
All right. That's a lot. How do you I'm trying to think of how you would condense that down to actually a 2-hour movie. Unless they're thinking of like
I don't think they're gonna I think they're gonna be like a couple movies. I don't think just one.
Yeah. Cause all right. Cause you gotta explain where she comes from. Cause otherwise people will be confused as hell. And then
You're talking about Disney, man.
okay, yeah. I'm trying to make sense of that. Like,
Whatever you read back then and those stories is not gonna follow that same story. So
all right, look, I think Kevin Feige understands that unlike Kathleen Kennedy, he's a white dude. So Hollywood has no problems firing white dudes.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, he don't have whatever the hell she has that allows her to just screw everything up and still and still survive. So
You could say Star Wars was bigger than Marvel, huh?
yeah, of course, dude. Star Wars was huge, and she completely destroyed that. And she destroyed the part that probably one of the main reasons why they bought it was the stuff, like the toys and the T-shirts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she completely destroyed all of that. It's like they'll sell some stuff when it's the old crew. You know, Han, Luke, and Leia like that, so that'll sell. But anything that they created that's new, that they don't have to pay other people who created those characters, Yeah, nobody wants none of that crap. Like nothing.
Yeah, but that's why I said I still give credit to Marvel. They're trying to
Hmm?
kind of fix stuff. I don't expect them to be like perfect and everything, but at least they're
Mhm.
trying.
Well, look, Fantastic Four come out. If they would announce this 2 years ago, yeah, that would have been a multicultural cast. It's like Johnny would have been gay, would have been a gay black dude. Who knows what the hell Ben Grimm would have been. Yeah, so them you wouldn't have got four, even though Pedro Pascal is technically South American.
It's from Chile.
Yeah, so he can still skate around. He's a little ethnic, but he can still pass for a white dude to a degree. So yeah, you wouldn't have got that a couple years ago.
No.
So that and this song and Robert Downey Jr. and I was like, all right, well, and I heard some.
Give it a chance. Let's see how they do.
Yeah, it's like I am not black pilled on this stuff. I kind of want, like, I enjoyed those movies, so I kind of want them to not suck. The TV shows are
No,
like,
shows us. I mean, Echo and what was that? The last one?
the one that's out right now is Agatha.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
that's hardly
What was
anybody.
that one? The one before Secret War? That was a dumb one too.
Secret Invasion,
Yeah, Secret Invasion.
which could have been very cool, but they decided to make it very not cool. And for some reason, friggin' Samuel Jackson went along with it by them completely destroying his character and made him he basically was a dude who took advantage of these aliens to make his life better than it should have been. It's like, why would you?
Especially the villain guy. He's in Russia. And he's
Dude,
the only minority. They're all surrounded pure white guys.
yeah, that was so stupid, dude. And the fact that like Gaia, like they just don't even mention Gaia anymore. Like you have this being walking around Earth that has everybody's powers. It's like he's going to like,
well, the only one was okay. It was Loki.
yeah.
That was the best from all of them, I think.
Yeah, that's like
Even the Falcon and the what was the other one?
The
That
Winter
was a bad
Soldier.
one too.
Oh, dude, that came out around the George Floyd thing, so they decided to stick a bunch of Black Lives Matter crap into it, and even though it made like no sense like whatsoever. Man, I remember having a conversation with my mother about this and telling her, and she was like, "Well, I don't see what the problem is." I'm like, "Mom, you have no idea how famous this dude. This dude would have been Michael Jackson famous. Like seriously, this is one super team on the earth. They have saved the planet numerous times. Everybody would know what he looks like. So the idea that he can get into an argument with some random white dude, and the cops will ask the white guy, "Is this black dude bothering you?" Like, okay, sure. It don't make no kind of fucking sense. So I don't know. All right, we're gonna get into what's going on with Star Wars. All right, so I will show you what this looks like. Let me share this picture. Star Wars. I don't get these companies anymore, dude. Sometimes you think that they learn a lesson, but
I told you, man. Even though I don't think they're gonna learn, dude.
right there you go.
What's the purpose? I mean,
The purpose is trying to appeal to a handful of people. A tiny.
I'm pretty sure majority of those people that they don't even watch this shit.
They don't. None of this stuff gets any ratings.
So what the hell is the purpose of putting this? I mean, nobody's against them, but I'm just saying it's like I doubt they watch Star Wars.
No, dude. What they're gonna do is make people go like people went from like indifferent to this, and then when you just going over and over and over and over,
So
like,
it's gonna be the continuation of the bad, but with the Rex and Wolf and Cody, right?
Well, let's see. see if it Lucasfilm publisher wrote the first look at a male clone trooper pretending to be a woman in Star Wars: Secrets of the Clone Troopers. Ex-user SW Holocron appears to have purchased a copy of the book that is written by Mark Sumerick and illustrated by Alberto Bush. I don't know. That's a lot of C's. Busisio. Revealed includes a first look at Sister, a trans woman clone trooper. The user added that the clone trooper Rex, who writes an in-universe account of the clone troopers, describes Sister when one of our kind expresses her gender identity differently from her fellow troopers. She figured, I guess, she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. Fortunately, her brothers in the 7th Sky Corps gave her a name, Sister, and as a constant reminder that she belonged.
So that means Kennedy's not leaving, huh?
You know what this reminds me of? This straight up reminds me of The Last of Us, right? And they had a
The HBO one?
the TV show.
The one HBO.
No, not a TV show. I'm thinking about the game, Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
And they had a character in there who was transgendered, and I'm like, you are in the apocalypse. There's no food. You worrying about how you're going to eat. This will be so far away from anybody's mind. Like, whatever the hell.
Yeah, it's all survival.
Right, it's all survival. This is like luxury. This is when you have an abundance of food and you have abundance of anything. That's when this kind of stuff pops in. When you don't have any of that, you ain't worried about like none of that. Like your identity is like you just worrying about whether or not your ass gonna eat, or if you go into this building with one of them things, clickers in there will eat your ass. That's what you worried about. They're in the middle of a war.
Raiders.
Right. So they're in the middle of a war. Like, why would you eat what? Why would that even be a thing? We're in the middle of battle. It's like as soon as like the person next to me starts acting and saying all this other stuff, I'm going to tell the doctor, is like, man, this dude tripping. And they will pull your ass out of there and bring you back to wherever. They're not gonna identify with whatever thing you're going on, because who knows what else is gonna happen next week. So we in the middle of
they just another gut punch to Star Wars. It's already dead, and they're still stabbing them.
Dude, the people were upset about, like, more people were probably making fun of this. It's just ridiculous. But what they need
Dave Filoni is going to be the writer.
But what they need to worry about is apathy. That is the thing. That is the death knell of whatever your thing is when people don't care no more. You know anything about Lone Ranger?
They didn't learn their lesson with the Acolyte.
No, it's even bigger than that. If you go look at the history of entertainment in the last 100 years, there was a time the Long Ranger was the biggest thing out there. There was TV shows and books and like they wrote novels. They had TV shows, bed sheets, a variety hour, all kind of stuff dedicated to the Long Ranger.
Yeah, because they have this mindset because they think they could just put this shit. You're just gonna watch this shit. You know what I mean? Right. That's their mindset.
But what I'm getting at is everything. You can go list a bunch of stuff that was really big at a certain point of history that nobody talks about. So Star Wars can easily be one of those things. Whereas it's like people stopped giving a shit, so you just release new stuff. So right now you get a little bit because of the Clone Trooper stuff, but the next thing, so less people care the next time, and then after that, less people care, and then whatever.
You think they might change it?
No, I think the people that they have in charge of stuff are okay with this. Like, seriously. All right. Let me tell you show you what I'm talking about. And I was talking about this Thursday. Halo. It's like a Halo Studio, right? Studio. And I'm exactly sure when a whole bunch of people tuned out on this shit when they saw this. Okay. Here we go. All right. Let me show this chick. All right, and okay, there she is. All right, so it's okay. For some reason, my Steam Deck ain't working right. I don't know why. All right, see her. She is the chief of staff at Halo Studios. The last game didn't really do that well. All right, so your IP is going down. So what would a sensible company do? It's like let's reassess, figure out, okay, why are we on appealing to our customer base?
Yeah,
And
find a
it's-
correction.
Right. And what does Microsoft do? They hire her as the chief of staff. When you go look up her information,
Credentials?
yeah, her just LinkedIn or whatever, because people did. As soon as you saw the purple hair, everybody was like, "Whoa, like, what is this?" They went right to her Twitter feed. Her Twitter feed is pronouns and rainbow flags and inclusion and diversity and blah 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 blah. So you're looking at this, and then you put her in charge of hiring people. So who you think she's gonna hire?
Amateur people.
Right. So nobody thinks that this person is gonna hire is gonna be good for Halo. They got like the ratio on it is actually for like not terrible. They got like, it's more likes than dislikes. But you chipped away at your customer base. So the last game chipped away at some. This chipped away at some more. So if they manage to put something out that's not full of diversity and all that shit, they'll probably be okay. But if
Yeah,
it has,
but these people have the backing of $1 billion corporation. That's why it's like it's even the lose money is like Microsoft or Amazon. It's like
Mhm.
you have the backing.
yeah.
I don't know why they're doing it, but whatever reason message they have, but people
Mhm.
just don't watch.
Sometimes
Eventually they're gonna have to learn because people are just fed up with this.
yeah.
They're not fed up with what they believe in. It just people just want to watch their regular how we grew up, watch Star Wars, Marvel, not as all this message and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's basically what they're tired of. And we're at the point where
They're
we're
lucky
going,
we live in America, let freedom of speech and everything. Like, I mean, not all the time, but give them their choice to be with who they want. But just stick it out of don't put it in the movies.
well, from what I can tell, they have been told their whole life, because it's usually because these are millennials and Gen Zers, right? I think the younger Gen Zers are realizing that a lot of stuff they're being told is bullshit. But it's like the millennials and like the late, that they still have this idea that if they're earnest about whatever it is that they're pushing, that the world will magically change into accepting whatever it is that they're like.
They have to go travel around the world so they can see.
But they're not gonna do that either, dude. Like the whole Palestine's for the queers for Palestine thing. Like, anybody who knows anything about Palestine and looking at you like, are you insane? But you know what? Like, if you go get on a
Saudi
plane,
Arabia, United Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain,
right?
Pakistan.
Look, even if you go to like Israel, right? So you get on a plane to Israel, the people in Israel
They'll
be
spit
like,
at you.
no, Israel will be fine. And then they'll ask you where you going, and you're like, well, you start calling them all kind of names, and then saying that I'm gonna go fight for the right of the Palestinians, and they'll be looking at you like,
They'll throw your ass in jail.
I'm like, are you sure about that? I'm like, no, I'm like,
Oh, they'll let you.
yeah, have at it,
You
man.
know how they do it.
Yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Actually, I want you to film this so I can see what happened. Because you're gonna get a cultural shock. It is they live in this thing where they don't have to worry about, they don't have to hunt anything, they don't have to grow anything. They just have to make enough money so they can go to the store and buy food and then go back to their house and complain about the patriarchy and climate change and all this other crap. I'm like, yeah,
There's
because you
always
don't.
stuff for their passion or whatever, but just when it comes to your work, you just focus on whatever your work.
But they're trying to change the world. The world ain't
Well,
gonna change, but
well, if they want to change the world, they should go to Saudi Arabia
no, they ain't gonna do that. They're not going. They're not going to Iran, and
or
they're
go to
completely
Libya.
no. They're completely ignoring all of like when they talk about women's rights and all those. They completely ignore that part of the world. They're not going to Southeast Asia or any places like that where like all this luxury and all this stuff that you take that you are so used to that is not existent for a large chunk of the planet. Just
I
like
know.
the freedom of speech. They think everybody got freedom of speech. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, that's a rare thing. Like most people do not have that. You can say certain things, but you cross a line, believe me.
Yeah, but I think they're getting higher. But I think the whoever's in charge of the corporation, that they're pushing, telling them to feel how you feel and stuff like that. But
Look,
that's why I think they're being encouraged.
yeah,
But
bro,
that's something.
they hired this chick that they hired like they hired her. She's going to be in charge of Halo, and I'm like, there are 5 Halo games that so have at it, knock yourself up. Put Master Chief in a rainbow suit, like whatever.
Don't tell me they're gonna be criticizing against the fans. It's their fault.
You can do whatever you want, bro. There's Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, and Reach. There's 5 games. 5 games. I have it is the Master Chief collection.
How about the
You know,
series? Didn't it have a series?
yeah, that was the TV show was crap.
On Amazon, right?
No, it was on NBC, I think.
Oh, that's where the actor said if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah, and he never he kept taking his helmet off. He kept walking around being buck naked. It was crazy. Dude, it was. It's like, dude, I don't want to like. Nobody knows what Master Chief's face actually looks like.
It's like the actor, like when that guy was getting butt naked too.
Well, it's an actor thing. It's like they can't. It's like they get this part and they want to show everyone that they got this part. It's very rare you get the actor who has enough confidence to not take like to totally buy into the character, and that was Carl Urban with Judge Dredd, where he kept the helmet on the entire movie because Judge Dredd never takes his helmet off. You never seen what his face looks like. So he actually did that. People didn't go out and see it, so that kind of sucks. But overall, it's a very good movie. Most of these actors, they cannot do that. So you got to see their face and you got to show off the body. Like I worked out for this, so Master Chief got to be butt naked and show off his cheeks. It's like, bro, I don't want to see none of this. Like,
Well,
seriously.
they're all juiced up, They gotta have to show flex.
Yeah, but I don't need to see none of that shit, dude. It's like you can keep that to yourself.
Well,
So
maybe
look,
P Diddy would like it. So
yeah, I'm quite sure P. So the the trans clone trooper, does it have you excited about watching or checking out this book or whatever this is?
I think it's gonna be animation like the Bad Batch.
No, this is a book. So this is a
Oh, then I'm not gonna watch.
no.
Book.
This is a clone Star Wars clone, a book with a male trooper called Sister. Description said this book is for young fans and children.
No, but they were gonna make a series animation like the Bad Batch with the clones.
Yeah. So yeah, the first person the first person on this says, just like what you said, Disney keeps putting nails in the coffin for Star Wars.
Yeah, that's what I tell you. It's like you're already dead, and they come and still stab you like Sauron.
So yeah,
You're already dead, and they still come over and spit at you.
Well, it's like someone is obviously heading this way after Omega and whatever the other one's name is. It's in the Bad Batch. Yeah, as soon as they started introducing female troopers, which is weird, is because the troopers are cannon fodder. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah, but at least they made it with Omega.
Mm-hmm.
She was not like a tough superhero girl. You know what I mean?
All right, but
it was a good character.
right, but in the world where you just made cannon fodder, that's what these people were created to be, to fight the robots. For whatever reason, they didn't want to use robots, so they just used clones. So yeah, it is interesting to see how that person would, like, especially the ones who figure that out, because the rest of them like they've been so programmed to be so obedient that they probably won't even notice that that's what they actually are. They were created to be cannon fodder. So if you get a couple that wakes up and figures out, oh crap, that's what we are, that's interesting. All this other stuff, I don't clone, like trans clone troopers and little girl clone.
It's a book, so nobody will buy it.
Yeah, well, yeah, nobody's gonna really buy it, especially it's a children's book, dude. That shows you how messed up these people are. Hey, why would you put this in a kid's book? Oh no, I know why you put this in a kid's book, because you're trying to shape their brains into thinking a certain way. You can't get the adults to think that way, but if you convince enough kids, so man, all right. So what are you going to talk about next? The Amazon. Because you like Rings of Power so much, we can talk about that.
I don't understand. They're trying to buy the rights,
right? So the fact that they was able to use Gandalf and the Balrog in that last episode, and like, okay, so you got their right, because they didn't have their rights to them to use any of that stuff.
They paid them or something.
Yeah, but I wonder what that actually means. Amazon Studios head Jennifer Salke indicated that it could purchase the rights to the Lord of the Rings from the Embracer Group. Jennifer Salke, head of Amazon MGM Studios, recently shared the company is talking about potentially purchasing the rights to the Lord of the Rings from an Embracer Group. In an interview, Salke was asked by KJ Yasman, Embracer, who's had a rocky 18 months, currently on the majority of Tolkien's IP. Could we see a situation in which Amazon potentially acquires a company? We're always talking about these opportunities, but I don't have anything to share right now. Embracer Group revealed back in 2023 that it was able to acquire Middle Earth Enterprise at a shockingly low price. The company revealed in its 22-23 annual report, the most significant acquisition of these acquisitions is the most significant acquisition of these acquisitions is the acquisition of Middle Earth Enterprises. Wow. Okay. Sometimes these.
What's the point? Even if they buy the rights, they still keep the same writers.
No. Which owns a vast IP property catalog and worldwide rights to motion pictures, video games, board games, merchandise, and theme parks and stage productions relating to the iconic fantasy library works, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and The Hobbit, as well as matching rights over Middle Earth related literary works authorized by the Tolkien estate and Harper Collins, which has yet to be explored. Well, see, that's the thing, dude, is they don't think they're doing wrong. See, that's the problem. It's like when I showed you the chick with the purple hair. I'm quite sure if you had sat down and had a conversation with her about all this stuff that she's probably going to have them put into Halo, she would have no problem with that. And we'll look at you and wonder why you have a problem with it. So all the stuff that they did with Rings of Power, they'll do to the rest of the Lord of the Rings. And then when the fan base gets pissed off, it's like, well, they'll talk crap about you because you don't.
I would say, right? Don't watch it.
Right. So when they don't, then they get mad because literally, like the chick from the Acolyte.
For somebody to say that, they have to be a bunch of idiots.
Dude, the chick from the Acolyte essentially said this, like she was complaining that Disney didn't protect them enough from the fans or whatever. So it was like she was on one hand saying, well, don't watch it. And then when people didn't watch it, she was like, well, how come you didn't watch it? You didn't watch it because you're a bigot.
And then she's insulting the fans.
Right. But so that's why, like, they will have like once they get the rights, who knows what the hell they're gonna do?
No, that's what I'm saying. Even I don't think they can save this stuff.
Well, no,
It's dead already. Bad. I was trying to give it a chance, second season, but
mm-hmm.
it was terrible.
Dude, you had me watching this shit, man.
Well, that's why it's called gaming and culture.
Dude, that shit was horrible, man.
Well, that was the most show coming out, right?
What do you mean?
The Rings of Power. That was like the next big thing coming out.
Well, yeah, if they would have actually like, there's a story. Like, if you have talented writers, there's a story there. You could have told how these rings were made. One, you can't do it in a weekend because that's basically, for whatever reason, they decided to do everything in a weekend. So what you wind up with is a bunch of rings that make everybody fucking evil instantly.
Mm.
They're like, well, what's the purpose of that? If I gave you the rings to the dwarves, and one of the dwarves put the shit on, and he turns into a greedy asshole who like threatens his damn kids.
And
So,
then
like,
they show that the last episode when the dwarf showed up, that was kind of dumb. Like, where did it came from? The big ass army, how they got into the castle? They didn't even show like when they arrive or anything.
Because
they just pop out of nowhere.
it is because the orcs do not know about scouts. They don't know about, like, you have the person who wrote this doesn't understand that you have to have scouts because you have to make sure that nobody sneaks up on you, that people don't come and flank you. Right. So they didn't notice a giant army of elves on horses. Didn't hear them coming. But hey, the elves in the city didn't notice the freaking giant orcs army outside, because apparently that giant army didn't make any noise, didn't make any smoke when they were
pushing
cooking.
That big old thing to
pushing siege engines, chopping down trees to make siege engines, and the elves did not notice.
Especially in the forest, they should have. You would have thought the elves would have scouts.
No, nobody had scouts. So nobody. The elves didn't have scouts. The orcs didn't have scouts. The dwarves didn't show up to go fight with the elves when they had more elves, because Durin had to go talk to his dad. And you gave the implication in the previous episode that they need the entire army to fight off whatever the hell they was going to wake up in the thing. And then when he tells his old lady, just stay there. I'm gonna go talk to my dad. So at that point, it's like, what the fuck did you need the army for? Like, why would she tell you that? Because if she told you that you need the army, and then you told her, I'm gonna go talk to my dad by myself, and she goes, okay. So like, well, wow. The army could, like, the elves are being currently slaughtered right now. So your army is watching you have a conversation with your father.
Yeah, it's like the one old guy could take on the whole, and it's only by himself, and they couldn't stop him.
The Balrog wakes up because you poked a tiny hole in the mountain, and that woke him up. And then he fights this old dwarf, and then once he kills the old dwarf, he goes back to sleep for 1,000 years. Like, what? Like, what?
It was bad.
No, so I can't imagine.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how can they say this.
But they can't. And get. Maybe she thinks that the reason why people don't like it is because they don't have enough of the
rights.
Yeah, the parts to make a better story. I'm like, you have enough. You have enough that you could have actually, if you had well written characters, you could have told a decent story. You know what Merit Base gets you? And it happened today. Did you hear about the Elon Musk SpaceX thing?
No, I haven't.
They caught a fucking rocket. They launched it They launched this 40-foot fucking thing into space, right? It separated. The Starship went on this mission, and the booster rocket fell down a little bit, turned down, flew back to the planet. When it got close to where it needed to go, it righted itself like this, and it moved itself right over to the spot where it needed to go, and this thing caught it. 20-foot tall rocket ship.
I think
That
he's gonna send to rescue the 2 astronauts, right? Next
no,
year.
they already did that. No, but what I'm saying is that this is extremely monumental, and you get this when you hire people based on what the fuck they know how to do. That's it. Who gives a shit about who they fucking? Who gives a shit about what color they are? The best of the best of the best. That's what you hire. So you wind up being able to catch fucking rockets, or you can hire people based off of who they're screwing and what skin tone they are, regardless of whether or not they know how to write any damn thing. Then you wind up with a fucking fight where nobody sends scouts out in the middle of a battle, and they keep getting snuck up on by other people. And then you wind up with that. You wind up with one of your elves falling 1,000 feet and making a friggin' hole in the grass and somehow surviving that. Because the person you hired has no kind of experience with anything and has no idea how anything fucking works. So they write stupid shit like that.
And
They write-
the elves defending the Raytheon.
bro, the fact that
They look all lost. They don't know what to do.
dude, the fact that in the first season a volcano goes off and all the elves and Numenorians completely survive it. Looking at it, if you're close enough to watch an volcano explode
They're
and you're close enough,
suffocating or burn.
you're dead. Everyone, like, you're dead. You didn't burnt out. I don't care how
Even by the smoke, you've been suffocated.
right. And she took a paraplastic, I think that's what it's called, flow to the face. That is superheated oxygen. I mean, superheated ash from like down below. It explodes out, comes down the mountain, and this like fire and smoke and all that hit you in the face. You are dead. I don't care how much mythical energy or whatever the hell the elves are made out of. It's like you are not surviving that. This thing melts steel. It can melt a car. It is melting your little elvish ass. But if I didn't lose no hair, didn't no scars, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't hire from merit, that is what you wind up with. And then when the shit fails, you can't. And you're so narcissistic that you cannot accept the fact that it failed because you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. All right. So you have to blame everybody else. The chick from the Acolyte, Stem Brown, whatever her name is, she was like, I was unexpected. Really? You had a TV show that cost $230 million that didn't generate any money for your company. Why would you think that they would make another season of that and spend another $230 million to do that again? But if you have that
People are living
mindset,
in a bubble, man.
they do. So it's like, but that's how they think, dude. It is amazing. And they say stuff and you just sit back and you're like, why did you think that? It's like, seriously, like, what happened in your life that made you think that what you just said made any kind of sense? Like, any kind of sense. But no, they should, even though nobody's watching this show, they should just make another one. But they do that. They did that with Star Trek Discovery. And nobody watching it. You lost all the Star Trek fans with this show. So you had that little bit of left who liked all the weird stuff that you put in Star Trek. They're you got an autistic Spock who only things that he've achieved is because of his mystery black sister that he never talked about in the future.
I never really watched got into Star Trek.
Star Trek is a
Remember it used to come out on UPN?
Mm-hmm. No, Star Trek is a optimistic look into the future. What the people who took control of it did to take an optimistic view of the future and make it into a modern day telling of what the future is. So what you wind up with is in Picard, you have a black woman getting mad at Picard because everybody can't live like you do, because she lives in a trailer park and does drugs and he lives on a chateau. It's like, you really don't understand how the Star Trek universe works. There's unlimited power. They have unlimited power and they have the means to create anything out of matter. anything, whatever you want. Whatever you want, whatever you need, they have unlimited power, so they can build you whatever kind of. So the only reason you will be living in a trailer park in the Badlands is because you want to live there. There's like no reason for you to do that, like like none. So because you have unlimited power, so that means you really don't have to do anything. So they got people who go to Starfleet and do all that stuff because they want to. Everybody, you can lounge around all day and do nothing because all the stuff that separate everybody in terms of wealth, there is no need for any of that. So you can, if you want 15 Ferraris, you can go someplace and they'll make you 15 Ferraris. I don't know what the hell you're gonna do with them, but you can have 15 Ferraris. I can have 15 Ferraris. You can have 15 Ferraris. You can live wherever because they have teleporters. You can live wherever you want. So you can work and do whatever you want in San Francisco, but you can go live in Africa if you want to. Because you just go get in the teleporter, teleport over to where you work at, and then you go teleport home. But the person who wrote the Picard didn't seem to understand that is the whole point of Star Trek. This is what the future could be. Now, like if you want to tell that story, because there is in Deep Space Nine they had I think it was Deep Space. It might not. I don't remember if it was Deep Space Nine or was this the Next Generation, but it was involved with Worf. Is a group of people who realized that human beings got soft because they don't have to do anything. So they was trying to figure out a way to make it so that humans had to struggle at least a little bit. But so it was like that. So you can tell that kind of story, and that existed in Star Trek. You can go be they still explore stuff. So they still go out and they find planets. And you can go on the ship, and then you can go start a whole new colony. Now,
Didn't they make a Star Trek movie? I thought I watched it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, but it's like you can tell those stories. You just got to know how to do it well. But then these people they don't know how to do it well. So since they don't know how to use their imagination to tell something different, they got to tell what they see. So right now is all this strife and struggle, so they got to input that into everything. So and then you can't, because the way Hollywood works is you can't have any woman failing at anything for whatever fucking reason, and you can't have any guy beat a woman. So therefore, if you have a male villain, then he can't actually beat the female protagonist in any capacity. So that's what happened with Ahsoka. You got Thrawn. Thrawn can't beat her ever. So she has to come out, even though it is absolutely ridiculous how she defeats zombies. She's freaking riding on a wolf underneath a Star Destroyer while the Star Destroyer is shooting down at her and somehow survives that. But that is modern writing. That is all of this crap.
And season 2 coming up.
Yeah, and it's going to be more of that crap. It's because they haven't figured out is you have to have the hero's journey. That means she has to fail.
Yeah, and out of shape Thrawn too.
Yeah, and it's like you have to give them a struggle in order for people to relate to and root for them, so that they can rise above their struggles. So if they never have any struggles, there's no reason to rise up. Then what are you rising up from? And the Captain Marvel, she was already awesome. She just became more awesome at the end of the movie.
That's a lot of people like Anakin, huh?
Anakin has because he has problems. He is dealing with his childhood and all this other stuff. And the thing about him is he lost so much stuff, and you really got to read the novelizations of those movies to really understand that the reason why Palpatine was able to do what he did with him was because he was afraid of losing stuff. He was afraid of losing
everybody, and he didn't want to lose Padme.
Yeah, he didn't want to lose Padme. So he would have did anything that he could possibly do to make sure that she stayed safe. And at the same time, he's getting shit from the friggin' Jedi because the Jedi was so set in their ways. And again, that is an interesting thing. It's like they had been doing the same thing for so long that it became dogma. So it's like they didn't know how to adjust to anything. So when you get a kid who is the most powerful force user that you've ever seen, because you're the way you do stuff is they have to be like babies for you to train them. You're gonna kick this dude out. Like, are you serious? You know how powerful he is, and so you can't bend none of your rules to train him properly. So even when you were forced to do it, y'all kind of pushed him to the side a little bit, so that made him a little resentful. So so that's why Palpatine was able to swoop in, and you put a little chink in there, and he just kept digging, and then eventually turned him. But that is interesting.
Yeah.
Ahsoka is not interesting. She's just I'm just awesome, and I'm standing there with my arms folded every time I see anything because I'm so awesome. I can talk to wool. I mean, I can talk to freaking giant space whales, do backflips in space on a ship. Even though the person who wrote this is like, this ship is in orbit, so therefore the ship is moving. So when she jumps straight up, the ship is going to continue that way. It's like that's how space works.
Well, that was Dave Filoni, so
Yeah. So, but it's just more and more and more and more bad writing. To me, that's what it is.
they should have just made that thing as animation.
It would have still been the same. Like, all right, you can. I've heard
Like Rebels, they should have just made like that.
Well, look, I've heard people say that there's more, like in a cartoon, you will forgive more because it's genuinely geared towards, at least in the West. Like in the anime, no, they got anime for adults and they got anime for children, and those are separate. But we don't really do that in the West, so I think they're just kind of looking at it like that. So I'm like, I don't know, dude. Until we can get back to. Hold on, we got some comments. All right, Elton. Acquisitions upon acquisitions. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I would. That was confusing. How they wrote that. So, our compatriot joins us from Sacramento. So until they get back to that, I don't know. I'm not.
I don't think nothing's gonna change for a while.
They got to Elon Musk a lot of stuff, dude. They got because you got to get rid of everybody, and if you leave any of these people, and that's the thing about it, when you hire these kind of people, and that's why you see you see a lot of videos of them complaining about how they can't find work. I'm like, yeah, because you walk in, they look at you, and it's like, oh crap. If I hire you, you're gonna make life a living hell for everybody else who works here, and it's gonna be hard as hell to get rid of you.
And it's so funny because like Netflix and other people, they're not doing this shit, huh?
No, because the things that the people are protesting about makes them money. So they're like, yeah, no. Like Dave Chappelle. Like, no, we're not getting rid of Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle makes us a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're not making any money. Your last idea that you gave me was stupid. He makes me money. So at the end of the day, that is what these corporations care about. So that is why you're starting to notice less and less of stuff. Just a little bit.
That's how you get credit Netflix.
Yeah, dude. Although they still have their issues because the Tomb Raider show, she looks a little mannish. She doesn't look like what she's supposed to look like. She's kind
They're
of
changing now because I believe next year they're gonna have Monday Night Raw WWE.
Mm-hmm.
I heard they might have the Christmas game, football game, one of the football games on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving, something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Like Peacock gave last year $25 million for one playoff game to the show, and they made so much money off that.
Well, look, I'm looking at some economists or whatever, and they're like, we have been in. Basically, they're saying that we have been in a recession for the last two years. They just changed the rules so that it's not technically a recession, but that's what we're in. So these companies have to make money, otherwise they're not going to survive. And that's why I brought up the point before about the Long Ranger. Super powerful, like strong IP. Nobody talks about it at all anymore. And you have to realize that that could be you. All it takes is for somebody else to come out with something that is becomes the new it thing. It's like when Game of Thrones, and like if they didn't screw the pooch for that last 2 seasons, they would have had spinoffs. They'll have all like HBO would have had all kind of crap, but
Yeah.
they did that, and then you got the Me Too stuff. So they started writing everything in conjunction with that, and like people aren't interested. So I don't know. We have been at this for a little bit. Probably not gonna get into. Do you want to talk about that last thing a little bit, or like? I don't think it's.
What's the last one?
The last one was the Winter Soldier guys talking about people complaining about things and not having anything to replace it with or something like that. Like,
Another idiot character.
yeah. Well, not giving stuff a chance because people aren't really giving, because that Thunderbolts movie is going to come out and people are crapping on it. Like, bro, it's like you have, I don't know I'm not sure who the villain is in there, and then you have the Sentry in it. You know who the Sentry is, right?
No.
Essentially, a Sentry is a dude who is so he is Superman like powerful, like Superman. Right?
Okay.
But he also has like a psychosis or something. So because of how he feels about the amount of power that he has, he kind of created a like a villain. So I think it's the Null, or so, I forgot what it's called, but it is a powerful entity that is formed from his issues about how powerful he is. So he creates somebody to fight himself.
Are you gonna go watch Venom?
Venom?
The second one was okay.
I want to see it, but I don't think I want to go to a movie theater to watch it.
Yeah, I thought they should have put make it with him as Spider-Man. I thought it would be cool.
I don't know how you do that, because yeah, see, that's the problem. Is
No,
like
I'm just saying that. I thought it would have been cool if you put Venom with Spider-Man.
Yeah, dude, they're gonna do Secret Wars. I don't know how the hell you do that. Well, you can't do the first one. You can do the second one. So the first one, like, they have access to all these characters, but they have not established most of them. So to have a fight, so you got to establish all the villains that are in the Secret Wars, and you have to establish the X-Men. You have to establish the
Fantastic. That happen. Come on.
It's just like, so that means they're going to do the second one. So the second one is when Doctor Doom gets power cosmic. He gets the Beyonder's power, so he can change reality, and he changes reality to reflect him like what he wants.
Yeah.
So you can do that, and that is what Marvel did in order to put Miles Morales into the main the 616. Yeah, they did all of this crap to put one character into the 616. So, because at the end he befriended the Molecule Man, and the Molecule Man, when they defeated Doctor Doom and they recreated the universe again back to how it was, he resurrected his mother and put his dad into the 616 and him. So he wakes up, he's in the 616. Everything is different, and his dad shows up, his mom shows up, like in the house with him. So they just did that to put one character in the 616. Now they can actually do that in that, like and that can reboot the universe and add mutants now and all this other stuff if they do that. So it's like a power cosmic thing. He changes the world, and then he changes everything. Everything gets changed back at the end, but everything is a little different. So if you wanted to if you wanted to hire new people to be new characters, you can do it like that. So there's a new Iron Man, there's a new Captain America, there's a new blah 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 blah. There's different actors, and they're all younger now. So that is something that they can do now. Will they do that? I have no friggin' clue.
I doubt it.
So, so I don't know. I have no idea how you're gonna like the Fantastic Four takes place in the past in a different universe. I don't know how that winds up. So it should be interesting, and depending on who they get to write any of this shit, don't know, man. All right, well, that is enough chit chat for today. It is about 10 o'clock. I think I'm gonna go get something to snack on and play some video games or something like that. So what you gonna get into, Ricky?
Nothing. Just relax.
All right. Well, so on behalf of myself and my friend here, I'd like to say, please like, share, follow, and all the fun YouTube and Rumble type stuff. And we are out. Later.
Peace.